get you set up there.
Hello and welcome to Sav Mode. In this video, I'm going to share with you a presentation that I just recently gave on women empowerment. The objective of this presentation was to share a little bit with my crowd about my personal journey with self-discovery and womanhood and all the things that I've learned in the past year to help figure out a better sense of self and figure out what really resonated with me, who I was as a person, as a woman, and where I wanted to go from here. The first key part of the presentation was the part on getting to know you. Who are you? How well can you answer that question? One of the things that I did was to create a list of my values. I found it valuable to make a list of my values because I felt like those were the core principles that I wanted to live my life by. My values were things that I was not willing to compromise, so I know that I have a concrete foundation of who I am, what my values are, and how I'm going to go through my life with my values. I have my values list here. Some of the ones that I shared with my presentation was authenticity, friendship, growth, passion, empower, gratitude, individuality, but I have the entire full list here. So I literally wrote down a list of the principles that I'm going to live my life by and the values that I know are important to me. What I did to create this list is I simply Googled a list of core values and then I pulled from that mega list and made the smaller list of the ones that applied to me. The next piece of information that I shared with getting to know you is, what is your mission? What is your mission in life? Mine personally that I shared was, one of my missions is to empower women and to help others feel like their best self. So for me, that is something I can do today. That is something I can do tomorrow, down the line in the future. That is something that I feel like I will want to do throughout my life, no matter what my job is, what my career is, what's going on. My mission is to empower other women and make them feel good. That is why I started this channel, because I wanted to be able to reach as many people as possible. If you have a goal, chances are it is not something that can happen overnight, and that's why you are setting it as a goal. If you could do it right away, it probably wouldn't be on your goals list. In order to achieve your goals and make progress and strides towards the final goal, you can wake up in the morning and ask yourself, what can I do that day? It's all about the small increments, about what you can do today to get you to that bigger picture. Just break it down into smaller pieces. Do what you can in that day. If you have fitness goals, just don't worry about the whole month of August. Just worry about what you can do today. That is the next part. Getting to know you. What are your values? What is your life mission? What are your goals? How can you break them up into smaller pieces? The next part of my presentation, I have two quotes from the book Milk and Honey. The first one is, you must enter a relationship with yourself before anyone else. And the other one is, fall in love with your solitude. So I love both of these quotes and they really resonated with me, because one of the things that I always say is that you should enter a relationship with yourself. Literally word for word with the quote, I always say having a relationship with yourself is so important, because when you have a relationship with yourself, you are able to figure out, again, who you are. So currently I am not in a relationship. The only relationship I am in is the one with me. But when you have that time on your hands, when you're not in a romantic relationship, you are able to invest your time in you. You're able to figure out what you want to do with that extra time you have. What are your hobbies? What are your passions? Figuring out what you can do in the time that's going to be best for you. The other thing that I find is really beneficial when you're in a relationship with yourself, when you're on your own, is to learn how to cope. You figure out coping mechanisms that work for you when you don't have that other person in your life that is someone you are romantically involved with. So for me, it can be calling a friend, maybe journaling, meditating, maybe watching a show that I know decompresses me. For me, dance is a huge thing that I do to decompress. So figuring out what you want to do with your spare time, what you fill your time with, how to invest your time in you, how to cope. The next reason I like to phrase it as being in a relationship with yourself is because of the self-talk. If you are in a relationship with someone, you wouldn't be speaking negatively about them. hopefully. And if you're in a relationship with yourself, these same rules apply. Do not speak negatively about yourself. When you're able to bring awareness to your self-talk and figure out if you are speaking negatively about yourself, you're able to change that internal dialogue and change it to words of endearment toward yourself. The objective, I would think, of being in a relationship is to eventually fall in love. So if you are in a relationship with yourself, the end goal would be to fall in love with yourself. I really liked those two quotes because I felt like they really illustrated what I like to talk about when I say how right now I'm in a relationship with me. I spend alone time. I find extreme value in my alone time. I find it very beneficial for figuring out who I am. That's how I was able to start this channel and figuring out what I want to do moving forward. I also recommended some activities of what you can do to figure out who you are. If you are struggling right now, if you are having a hard time identifying your sense of self, if you want to build on that. So I have a whole list of activities that you can do to increase that knowledge. So the first thing is goal setting. I am a huge believer in goal setting, and not just thinking about it in your mind, but writing it down. This journal that I showed you before, my Girl Boss journal, is like my holy grail for my goals. I write them down in here. It has so much of everything over the past year that I've wanted to do, that I have done, that I'm looking forward to doing. Writing it down and writing down your goals, putting that energy into the universe, is such a great way for you to figure out where you're going. You know, you're not just aimlessly going through the days and months, but you're really living with a purpose to achieve these things and create self-fulfillment, because when you work towards a goal and then you achieve it, you are giving yourself self-fulfillment. The next activity was the one I listed prior, the values list. Just writing down your values, I feel like, is a really beneficial activity because, like I said, you can figure out what are your core beliefs and what you stand by and stand for. The next activity is something you probably did in 4th grade, but I did it again as a senior in college, and I found it to just be a really fun little activity I could write in my journal. So I did a name acronym activity where I wrote down my name vertically, and for each letter of my name, I chose an adjective to describe myself. Now, make sure that your adjectives are not appearance-based adjectives. You know, S is not for sexy. S is for sophisticated, okay? You want to pick things that are really intelligent adjectives using the structure of your name and words that you would choose to describe yourself. It's just a fun little activity. It's not something, you know, you have to overthink or take too seriously, but it is something I did to just pick some positive adjectives that I would use to describe myself. Next, I find reflection to be so beneficial. I think reflection and writing down, journaling my thoughts has been so transformative for me to figure out where I was going, who I wanted to be, what I was thinking. I'm going to probably do a whole video just on journaling alone, but reflection, you know, I have the next journal for all my thoughts, and reflecting is a great way to figure out what's been working, what are some things you want to work towards, what are some things you're looking to change. I also gave a prompt idea in my presentation, so I'll write it here. When do you feel most powerful? I think that's a great question to answer and reflect on, because when I think of powerful, I think of being really in control, really strong, really standing your ground. Feeling powerful is a really great feeling. So figure out, when do you feel powerful? What are you doing? Who are you around? What else are you feeling besides powerful? So that is a great reflection question that I've answered myself. When do you feel most powerful? And it is a great thing to look back on and see how maybe that changes over time. The next activity that I recommended was to create a Pinterest board entitled Me. I've talked about this before with the people in my life, how I have a giant Pinterest board and I collect in that Pinterest board all of the different pictures, quotes, colors, patterns, etc. that resonate with me. So having that is just a nice little visual representation of who I am, maybe not me and pictures of me, but things that make up who I am, that really stand out to me. So having that, it's a really great place. I think many people have Pinterest on their phone, so it's a cute little board you can have that just encompasses everything that stands out to you, resonates with you, that you would consider to be in your board. The next activity that I recommended was to create a list of the people that you love. Doing this will allow you to have a place when you are feeling alone to look back and know that these people are out there and that you love them. I'm sure they love you if they're on your list. I just like to have this place of all the people who have really positively made an impact on my life and that I care about, and just know that if there are days where I'm feeling like I can't do it for me, at least I can do it for them. So having the people who motivate you, who inspire you, who you love, who have made you the better version of you, having that list of people is just a nice activity that you can do to remember the people in your life who are important to you. The second part of the presentation was about health. Now I broke it into 3 subcategories: emotional, physical, and women's health. For emotional health, I listed 4 quotes that really helped me in hard times. I'm sure you've heard them before. They are not my quotes. They are quotes that I have pulled from all over the internet. The first one is, "Just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly." I really like this quote because in my dramatic moments of feeling like I really could not go on with whatever was stressing me out when I was going through hard times, I went back to this quote and remembered that even if things seem like they are just in shambles, you are growing, you are turning into your butterfly. The next one is a very similar message from the quote. Sometimes when we are in a dark place, we think we are being buried, perhaps we're being planted. I also love the visual of this one of just feeling buried, feeling like the world is on your shoulders, on top of you, and like you are not able to move forward right now, but in reality, you are really being planted, you are about to grow, you are about to blossom and turn into this flowers. So again, I think both of these quotes really highlight resilience, and if you're going through a hard time, I am a firm believer of we come out of hard times even stronger, knowing ourselves better, and just seeing what we can overcome really highlights our resilience as people, as women. So I love those quotes. The next one is, "The thing you think isn't working out for you is all part of everything working out for you." I'm also a firm believer in everything happening for a reason. And I think this one helped me when I felt like there was something that I really, really wanted, a person and a job, anything that I was like, this is it. Why is this not happening for me? Why is this not working out? In the grand scheme of things, when I looked back as life progressed and I was able to reflect on that time, I now see why it didn't work out. Something better presented itself, and that is why, even though at that time I couldn't understand why it wasn't working out, it was all part of everything working out. So I think that is a great quote to remind me that everything happens for a reason, not to get frustrated, and that as life goes on, I will have the answers as to why it didn't work out. The last one is, "Ships don't sink because of water around them. Ships sink because of the water that gets in them. Don't let what's happening around you get inside you and weigh you down." This is a great quote to help me think about if what is stressing me out right now is something that is me, or if that's something that is from external forces around me. So just not to let negative people, energy, situations get inside me and weigh me down. Don't let that negativity in you. Keep it out there. Don't let it sink your ship. Along with mental health is having this mentality and perspective switch. So I found myself in a lot of times when there was an unknown, defaulting to the worst case scenario. Once I was able to realize that it was really just the stress and worry of the unknown that was making me think about the actual worst possible outcome, once I was able to bring awareness to my thoughts, I was able to say, okay, yes, this could be the worst possible outcome. I don't know what's going to happen, but what is the best possible outcome? Not always automatically defaulting to worst case situation will allow you to switch your perspective, switch your mentality, to not let everything kind of weigh you down instantly, especially if you don't know what's going to happen yet. So bringing awareness to your thoughts is really important. You can do that through meditation. It takes time, it takes practice. Sometimes it's hard to just sit still and bring awareness to your thoughts, but I find that through seated meditation, different YouTube videos, Spotify, moving meditations, all of these things over time helped me to bring awareness to my thoughts and helped me realize if I was thinking a certain way, how could I change it to change the narrative of my thoughts? One way to do that is to, of course, think about what are the positives in the situation. I would say in 99% of situations, you can probably look and find at least one positive thing from it. In order to really develop for me what is a positive in a situation, I started a gratitude journal. So having a gratitude journal and writing down what I was grateful for that day, small things, large things, whatever it was, really helped me to even further the positives in my day-to-day life, because things that I was maybe taking for granted, I now put as something that I was grateful for. And so in a day, even on a hard day, I was able to find something positive out of it. Strongly recommend writing in a gratitude journal, because this did help me think about the positives in my life and the things that I was grateful for. Another thing is to acknowledge what you can and can't control in situations. I know it is challenging, but you have to be able to differentiate what you can control and what you can't, because if you can't control it, then you have to figure out a way to navigate the situation with what you can control. Something you can control is how you react to situations. Just knowing if there is something you can do to make it better, what you can contribute. At the end of the day, there are things that are out of our control. People's actions, people's feelings, other situations are not in our control. So being able to acknowledge that and then figure out just what you can do is going to make your life a lot easier moving forward if you don't take the things that are not in your control and continue to stress about them. The last piece of information that I had put on this slide was that you are not alone. We all have times in our life that are a little bit harder, that are emotionally challenging, and just know that other people are feeling that way. And if you need to talk to someone, call a friend. If for me, I'm very transparent with how I'm feeling and I share my emotions with my friends, it tends to make me feel better, and it tends to make them feel better, because for me, being really transparent with how I'm feeling, they're like, oh yeah, I can relate to that. So although even in our darkest times, you might feel like no one can understand how you're feeling, I'm sure that you are not alone. Your life is as good as your mindset. The next slide is on physical fitness. I have come up with this principle, this philosophy, this idea called self-based fitness. So having a fitness journey, lifestyle, goals that are for you. You probably heard of plant-based food. I'm talking about self-based fitness, okay? So having a self-based fitness mentality is just thinking about the things that are going to be best for your personal self. Don't worry about what TV is saying is best for your fitness. Don't worry about what the magazines are saying. Figure out what's gonna work best for you. One thing that I preach is to do it for your health. Exercise for your health, work out for your health. Don't do it for the exterior appearance. So the way I like to think of it is focus on the inside. I'm all about building strong girls and women from within. This is an internal journey that we're going on. It's not about how you look. It's not about what you have. It's about who you are. So same thing with fitness. What is on the inside? Focus on your heart, your muscles, your mind, your immune system. All these things are going to benefit from working out. That's why we do it. So far on this channel, I've posted workouts in the gym with lifting, but in addition to lifting, I've also done yoga and Bikram and Pilates and running and different types of fitness. Fitness is going to look different from person to person with what you enjoy doing. Just remember that you're doing it for your health, for your inside. Have a healthy heart, grow in your muscles. Working out is also great for your mental health. Working out is going to better your immune system. And furthermore, your fitness goals, personally, I recommend to have goals that are strength goals, speed goals, endurance goals. So all those things are also, from within. I'm working out, I'm lifting to get stronger. I'm running, I'm pushing myself on the treadmill to get faster, to build endurance throughout all these workouts. Those are where my goals are, not to lose weight, not to look a certain way, because for me personally, I don't think that is the best way to think about it and move through your life with those goals in mind. The next thing I talked about on my physical fitness slide was to take a multivitamin. I take a multivitamin, just a 1-a-day women's multivitamin, and taking it has proven to me to help my immune system, and it's just good for your health. I'm just gonna say here, make sure you take your vitamins. And last but not least, consistency. You don't have to work out every single day. Yes, I try and work out when I can. Right now I'm lifting about 4 times a week. However, if I can't get to a workout, that's okay. The overall goal of the journey is to be consistent and make it something that you can embed into your days that is going to last you for a long time. With fitness and working out, it's not like you're going to get to a certain point and then just stop completely. This is something that is going to continue through your life if you are doing this on a repetitive basis. So making sure it is something you can be consistent with. Don't be hard on yourself. It's going to happen over time. Your body is going to see the results as you are continuous and consistent. So just know that consistency and continuing to work out for your physical fitness is key. Next, we talked about women's health. So something that I realized recently was the adjectives used around periods. So period positivity. I can remember back in middle school health class learning about my period, and I don't think anyone ever used really empowering vocabulary around my period. So as a 22-year-old woman, I decided to change my internal dialogue around my period and use this as something that really empowered me and was part of my life that made me feel appreciative of all the things that my body could do. As women, our bodies change. All these things are just really incredible things that should be highlighted and celebrated as women's health. So having positive adjectives around your period, don't think of it as something embarrassing, inconvenient, painful, but it also shows how strong you are and what you can go through. Next, the reproductive system. How well do you know your body? It took me 22 years to learn the correct terminology around my body. I know that YouTube might censor some of these words, so just know that all of the vocabulary that goes with women's health and the women's reproductive system, learning them for their proper terms and what they do was a really empowering thing for me. Lastly, contraceptives and skin. Just knowing that in the past year for me, I had a lot that I needed to learn with how the pill affected my skin and how it was affecting my hormones, and just kind of realizing that all these things are different than men. Men are not going through these same hormone changes. So knowing that it's okay if you are going through and learning through what's working for your body, what's not working for your body as a young woman, and that it is totally natural and normal and just something that is part of the process and figuring out what's going to work best for you. I have another quote here. It is, "The moon and flowers look nothing alike, but are both beautiful." So I think this quote is a great quote to highlight why you should not compare yourself to other women. Her beauty, success, talent does not take away from yours. There is enough room for all women to be whole and complete and to take other women up with you. I know it can be challenging when you go onto social media or the internet and just not even realizing that you're comparing yourself to other people, but just know that what she has does not take away from what you have, and that we all are on our own path. We are all on our own journey, and we all have our own timing in life. So just know that they are different. You are you. Your individuality is something super special, and that you should be proud of who you are as a woman. I had another quote here. I'm going to read it because I felt like it was a great quote about self-worth. It says, "The only one who gets to decide your worth is you. It doesn't come from your bank account or the number of friends you have. It doesn't come from what someone else says you are worth, and it doesn't come from a number on the scale or the number of nights you go out. It's called self-worth for a reason. Your worth comes from you. It comes from being yourself and being proud of who you are. It comes from being someone that you can count on and being someone you love. Because when it comes down to it, the numbers will change, but what won't change is who you are deep inside. Beautiful, limitless, wonderful, creative, strong, capable. And that is where your worth comes from." I love that because, like I said before, it is all about this internal journey of who you are and self-discovery and womanhood, and your self-worth comes from within, not from other people, not from what you have, all about who you are on the inside. So I thought that quote was just beautiful to highlight that. I had some final thoughts to wrap up my presentation. You don't need permission to be you. Just because your friends don't see eye to eye or your people in your life Doesn't mean that you need their approval to be you. You don't need permission to be you. You are great, you are amazing, and you are you for a reason. So continue going and following your heart and what resonates with you. Anything you work for, you achieve. Nothing is impossible. Put in that work because over time you never know what is going to happen. No dream is too big. If you keep working on it and you put in the work, you can do it. You don't need to have it all figured out. Life is a process and evolution. You will learn as experiences come into your life. You do not need to have it all figured out right now. You don't need to know what your career is going to be. You don't need to know where you're going to be in 5 years. You don't need to have it all figured out. It's okay to not know. Believe in yourself. A lot of times I realized I was the person who was standing in my own way. Despite my friends cheering me on or my family, I felt like I was the one who was giving myself self-doubt. So believe in yourself, no matter what it is, what you're going for, whether it's an internal thing or an external thing, just believe in yourself because you can do it and it comes from you. It comes from your own self-thoughts about believing that you can. Identify the qualities in people you admire. I think this is great and it can also be another reflection question. I always look for the people in my life who I look up to, who I admire, and I think about the qualities that they obtain, and that has helped me to grow into the woman that I wanted to be because I was able to take these qualities and embed them in my own style into my own life. So I think that reflecting on the people that you look up to and seeing what you like about them is a great question to ask to see where maybe you can move forward in terms of growing into the woman that you want to be. Enjoy the beauty of the path you are on, not so much where it leads you. A lot of times we get so focused up on the end goal that we forget to enjoy the process of getting there. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the steps to get to where you want to be, because if you were always looking forward, you are never going to be in the present. So take some time to enjoy where you're at right now and don't focus so much on that end piece. Last but not least, women are incredible. Women are a force. I started this channel because I want to empower women, and I full-heartedly believe that they are just incredible. And so if you are struggling, just know that you are great. You are so capable. You are so worthy, and you will get to where you need to be. Thank you for coming to the YouTube version of my presentation, and I hope that you liked it. If you felt like this information was beneficial to you, I will be posting more videos on workouts, but also more videos like this with advice and information for women to feel confident and boost your self-esteem. So like, subscribe, I'm always here. Thank you for coming to Sab Mode.